Welcome to Seize the Mains Daily Answer Writing Initiative by Raj Malhotra's IAS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana and I'm taking this daily answer writing lecture discussion from Monday to Friday at 9 pm. You can download the timetable for Seize the Mains till May 3rd from link in the description below. The special part about this initiative is that you not only learn answer writing with us, but you can also write your answers and share them with us to be evaluated by our experts entirely free of cost. So it is day 46 of Seize the Mains and the topic for today is from GS paper 2, issues relating to development and management of social sector services relating to health, education, human resources. So before I display the question in the next slide, make sure that you have a pen and a paper handy with you so that you can take notes for this entire discussion. Also pause the video as you read the question, try to understand it and try to build your own structure for the answer that we are about to discuss and then restart the video. So the question for today is, though women in post-independent India have excelled in various fields, the social attitude towards women and feminist movement has been patriarchal. Apart from women-led education and women empowerment schemes, what interventions can help change this malus? Answer in 250 words for 15 marks and share your answers with us for this question in the next 24 hours. So let's try to understand this question. First of all, there is no direct directive here. The question is very straightforward that yes, the government has launched a lot of government interventions, a lot of women development schemes, women empowerment, women education, employment for women has been on the rise and a lot of women have come up in leadership roles right after starting from independence to the recent times. But there is a gap that we see in the efforts that we are putting in and the results that we see in terms of women empowerment. So what initiatives should be taken? What are the solutions that you can give for women empowerment in future or in the coming times, apart from the schemes, women empowerment schemes that the government is already running? One thing that you don't have to do in this question is that you don't have to write about schemes, any schemes of Women and Child Development Ministry. That is not the demand of the question here. You have to give your own ideas and talk about the loopholes that are already present in the current system and what are the solutions that you suggest to better the status of women in India. So though women in post-independent India, first of all, you'll have to restrict the timeline to after 1947 only, have excelled in various fields. The social attitude towards women and feminist movement has been patriarchal. So we have to address the answer in terms of the with respect to the problems that have been given. First, the problem that we can see is the word patriarchal. So the answer has to be in a societal perspective. In how can we deal with the patriarchal narrative of the society? The social attitude towards women, that's the problem. And feminist movements that fight for equal rights for women as they are available for men. So this answer has to be addressed in terms of the societal perspective. Keep all these keywords in mind, all the negative keywords in mind, because when you have the negative keywords in your mind while writing your answer, you can very easily give solutions to whatever these negative keywords are there in the question. So first of all, we'll start by writing an introduction, that what is the current status of women in India in Indian society, and how it has changed after independence, or what is the dynamic of status of women in India. So status of women in post-independent India has continuously changed with changing socio-economic and political realities. This change has been a result of external agents and catalysts like government initiatives and women-led movements. So this narrative, this status of women in India changes every moment. As soon as we have a role model, the story for the women in line, it changes. Whether it is with respect to education, whether it is with respect to working women, whether it is with respect to working from home women, or women who are totally unemployed. So when we have role models, when we have schemes in place, when we see that yes, this progression can take place, this is a progressive step and this is how women can stay in a society or can live in a society, so that changes with the narrative, that changes with time. So after independence, the status of women has seen a lot of shifts. That is what the introduction is trying to say. but the low involvement of women in workforce, in legislatures on one hand, and issues like the Sabrimala controversy, triple talaq and social crimes against women on the other highlight that patriarchal barrier to women empowerment remains deeply entrenched in society. See, this seems to be a very complicated introduction, but it is not. It is just justifying or paraphrasing whatever statements were given in the question, whatever words were given in the question. So first of all, we have shown that how the status of women has changed and it is evolving after independence, and we have attributed it to women-led movements and government initiatives. Secondly, we have shown that yes, though the status of women is evolving, though their position in society is changing with time, it is getting better, but there are a lot of social crimes that are occurring. The the women who are employed in urban areas in India, it's just 18%, and that's even lower for our legislatures. Many poorer countries of the world have more women representation in legislatures as compared to India. There are so many social crimes that happen every minute against women or females in particular. So this is some data you should be aware of, and when you're writing about a particular part of society, for example women in this answer, so make sure that you include all those data points with respect to employment, with respect to social crimes, with respect to social status, with respect to education or availability of health services to women. There are so many reports or indices that come from time to time. For example, gender parity index we discussed a few days back. So keep all these handy for all the social divisions of the society. Have like separate data points for women, for a certain class, a certain caste, or whatever divisions you can think of, and have those data points ready and handy before you appear for your mains exam. So here we have paraphrased the question, we have justified it, yes, that yes, there are many social evils there in the society, many social crimes, and as respect to employment or education, that women are not adequately represented, or the idea of equality enshrined in the constitution has not materialized when it comes to women. And now we'll move on to address the main body paragraph of the question, which demands that you give your ideas or steps that should be taken or solutions that you think should be there apart from women empowerment schemes or any such schemes which the government is running. So what are the other solutions that we can think of? Let's see. See, when we talk about schemes, they are custom based schemes. They are for example, if a scheme is launched by Health Ministry, so that is aimed at addressing health issues of women. If it is launched for like providing nutrition, so that is there. Now when the examiner has shut down the doors on writings about schemes in your answer, so what doors can be opened? We'll talk about the larger picture, and what comes in the larger picture, that we need to change the dynamics of the society, the equation on which Indian society is based, that will have to change. Especially the question has the keyword patriarchy, so that talks about a social dynamic that is prevalent in India. So we will give solutions with respect to that how can the social equation of India change, and they will form a part of a solution. So the I'll briefly read out to you whatever points are there. The first one is urbanization, second is public safety, third is enshrining giving family values, and then we'll move on to read about next solutions. See, when you have urbanization and public safety, what happens? More women are likely to take jobs. When women move to cities, they are likely to have better education, better employment opportunities, and an open-minded society as compared to the places they were living in before. So urbanization helps in growth of women, it helps in empowerment of women. So urban milieu breaks past rigid social structures with relative ease, for example in domestic roles, social freedom, etc. The timings for women, for which women can stay out, the kind of clothes, the kind of freedom women have over choosing their clothing, and things like that. There can be n number of things which can be positive aspects of urbanization for women. So make sure that you add those points, that how urbanization can help in empowering women. The second one is public safety. See, if you have public safety, yesterday also we were taking a discussion regarding employment of women in India. So if there is safe transportation available, more women are likely to take jobs, more women are likely to take flexible work hours job. They'll be, if they feel safe in the city they are traveling in, if they know that even if they leave the office a little late after working hours, they'll have safe public transportation to go back home, or a safe passage route, then more and more of them will get out of their houses and take the jobs that were earlier not taken by them. So public safety is very important. They'll feel free to go out at their own will, so that will lead to women empowerment. It promotes greater participation of a greater number of women in economy and public life. It addresses personal anxieties and family barriers. Concepts like 24/7 cities can combine urbanization and needs of public safety. The third one is, I think, one of the most important. It's called family values. You can also include the role of educational institutions here. See, the way we bring up our children, the way we nurture them, the way we condition them, that is how the society will be after a few years when those children are like adults, like 20 years old or more than that. So instilling values of equality in children, instilling values of strength and independence in girls, in little girls itself, that is the first step to women empowerment. How we treat girls in schools, how we treat girls in our own families, that will lead to women empowerment in the near future, because family is the first school of a child's life. So family values are very important. Gender equality needs to start within homes, in attitudes of parents, spouses and siblings. The fourth one talks about greater equality at work. Now here we are talking about a balance in paternity leaves and maternity leaves. The concept of paternity leave gives an equal weightage to women and men as having an equal role in the nurturing of the child. So that gives the responsibility of caregiving not only to the mother, that's why she needs a maternity leave, but also to the father. So having a balance over that is very important. You can have a separate point when it comes to talking about employment or work culture in corporates or work culture in any of the organizations. So this point can be included there, or you can just write separately to have more and more points in your answer. The fourth one is administrative reforms. For example, when we have women in legislatures or women as police officers. So for example, if we have more women in legislatures, whatever acts will be passed, especially which affect women, for example, the surrogacy bill or this abortion act, the bills related to abortion, they were passed, or whatever are in pipeline. So they are more effective when they have women in legislatures, when women are participating in the decision making process, because empathy for a woman can have, empathy for any gender is more in their line of gender itself, in the same group of gender itself. So having more women in legislatures, having more police officers, or having more women administrators or women working in the administrative setup will lead to, first of all, it will create role models for the women who want to study and pursue such dreams. Secondly, when we have such women in power in the administrative arena or in legislative process, it will ensure more efficiency and more inclusion. So administrative reforms need to factor in gender inclusion, especially in police. It can help de-emphasize the culture of violence in public life. The next one is culture of cinema, culture of OTT platforms, culture that we have on social media, the way we portray women. For example, sometimes a particular song might display women as being sad, or the other one might display women as being ruthless or very money minded. So when people listen to such songs or watch such movies, they develop such kind of mindsets. Though we say that cinema is a form of art and people performing it are independent artists, but that is the form that we use to relax. When we go back home, what we do, like if you are in a regular job, most people turn on their OTT platforms, watch YouTube, or go out on a movie on weekends. So that is a form of education, that is a form of learning that you are getting. And when people do not have solutions to the problems of life they are having, what they do, they relate their life stories to the heroes that they worship. So whether it's coming in form of a song or a movie or an OTT series or any article that you just read, if a particular section of society is displayed in a negative light, it definitely has the potential to cause chaos in your own household or in your own life, and it will definitely change the thinking pattern of people towards that. For example, here we are talking about women, so towards women that will change the thinking pattern of people. So whatever these WhatsApp forwarded messages are there that cause chaos in your households, or whatever movies or songs that we are referring to, that narrative needs to change, and we need to take as an active stand in that. Next one is more job opportunities for women. See, employment rate in India is already very low. There are very few jobs available and very few good permanent jobs available which satisfy the needs of the youth, and competition for them is very high. And what happens in this competition is that women actually are put behind in the competition. So we need to have more tailor-made job opportunities for women, especially keeping in mind that the employment rate is already so low. So despite being significant contributors to social and financial development, women don't have access to equal job opportunities. Equal rights programs can invest significantly in promoting decent jobs and public policies advocating growth and development. The next one is invest in women's businesses or entrepreneurial ideas. So what happens that a woman, it is statistically proved that when women come up with an idea to begin their own businesses, whether it's a small startup, a corporate venture, or even a small shop, when they want to begin that, there is not much support available. And let's forget about the mental or emotional support that we're talking about. The first thing is financial support. Most of the entrepreneurs in India, they don't have funding available, but they have very good ideas. So we are already struggling for funding for our startups. There are many schemes run by the government also, and many corporates are also funding many startups. But as we see that in the case of women startups or women-led businesses, that support is very less as compared to businesses led by the other gender. So that narrative has to change. Successful women need to be honored, and they need to stand as role models, and potential investors need to be motivated that women-led businesses will generate success and will generate revenue. And what we can do from our end is that we can support these small businesses which are run by women who have taken a stand for themselves in their personal life to become independent economically and to support their families. So women-led businesses need support and financial funding, and that emotional support or the support that we give by buying from such places. The next one is taking action against unpaid labor work. One of the states came up with this unpaid labor that women do at households or household work. So this is a debatable issue that whether it should be paid or not. On the one hand, household work or this unpaid labor is a 24/7 job. We all see that in our households. Secondly, it is not paid for, and thirdly, the women of our country are losing their identities when they reach towards the old age, especially during old age. Most of them are educated, but they have not been into a conventional employment setup. So on the one hand, they are not financially independent from their partners, their siblings, their parents, or from their children. So on the one hand, they are not financially independent, and on the other hand, they do not have their own identities, which leads to more mental problems. In fact, it has been seen that the cases of or the potential of having depression is twice as bigger in women as compared to men. So we need to address this issue because this is an urgent need, and that needs to have that respect in the society. So let me read this out for you. Many marginalized groups, including rural women and domestic workers, are either deprived of economic independence, and many times their labors go unnoticed by society. With empowerment policies striving to raise the income of women, resources can be appropriately managed to eradicate the issue. The next one is mentoring women professionally and personally. See, when you are working or studying, you have a social circle. Okay, there is this personal life that you lead and there is a professional life that you lead, but for most of the women there is only one kind of life they're living, and if leading, and if they're not happy in that life, there is no escape route to that. There is nothing else they can fall back upon. So they do not have good friend circle or people to talk to about their issues. So first of all, that social circle needs to be developed. Secondly, how this will be developed? By personally mentoring and mentoring women and talking to them. It can be either through counseling, through group counseling. Many NGOs are working in this direction, or through organizing events, cultural events on a large scale and in large number as compared to before. So bringing women together, sharing their problems, letting them talk about their problems, even if there are very minuscule problems, that is where solutions have to begin. Because every deprived women, financially or emotionally deprived women in a household feels alone. So when you bring such similar women together, that is the point of strength, and that is where the change begins. So mentoring women professionally and personally for their growth, when they are brought together, they can be engaged into many small businesses, many entrepreneurial activities, or even self-growth activities. So implementing fancy rules cannot drive away unequal pay gaps and the lack of job opportunities for women. To eliminate the problem from the grassroots levels, gender-sensitive economic policies should be deployed. Gender-sensitive, gender-based budgeting is a very common practice in India. Make sure that you read about that. So to help women actualize their entrepreneurial goals and promote them as leaders, mentoring programs should adopt a more holistic approach wherein both personal and the professional aspects are taken care of. So income making skills are not always successful in building empowering personalities, and empowerment schemes can launch competent mentoring programs to cater to the growing fiduciary demands. So that was about it. These are some of the solutions. See, when you're talking about solutions in this question is from GS paper 2, and yes, it involves parts of society, but you'll also have to include a lot of data and articles from Constitution. You can talk about affirmative action, you can talk about Article 14, right to equality, or the affirmative actions that are there in the Constitution, or the intention of government behind running schemes for women empowerment. So you don't have to explicitly talk about schemes, but the intention, you can talk about it. You can talk about preamble or things like that. Make sure that you add data and statistics. Global gender gap report is the best report to talk about here. So make use of the knowledge that you gain over your preparation intelligently in your mains answers. And now coming on to the conclusion, we'll again see in conclusion, either you can sum up an answer, that is what we do in history answers or geography answers. Here, because this is a dynamic concept, and here we can give a way forward, that what is the what are the possible solutions we've addressed in body paragraph. Now we'll go back to the question itself, we'll paraphrase it, and we'll tell that okay, this is the way forward for this problem, and this is what is needed. So there is power in collective action and in community, that's where the solution lies. So this line means that we have to act collectively, and the at community level the narrative has to change. So in the last paragraph we describe that patriarchy and feminism, they are seen as opposites. They are not opposites literally, the dictionary meaning of both these concepts is not opposite, but as we perceive them as a society, when we perceive them as a society, patriarchy and feminism are seen as opposites, and one group stands against the other. So it is very important that we understand the meaning of feminism. We understand that yes, we live in a patriarchal society, though yes, there are many men who are facing the downsides of feminism, who are facing a lot of unjust activities. So but in your answer you'll have to explain that yes, this is yes, we live in a patriarchal society and that is the cause that women empowerment is not so high. Feminism on the other hand is not an opposite of patriarchy, rather it is a concept that promotes equality of both the genders. So if we have to make India a progressive society and we have to develop economically, as it has been given by World Economic Forum also, we discussed it in the last lecture, that involving women in the workforce can increase India's GDP manifold. So including them, having feminism, having equality of both the genders, or rather all the genders, is in the best interest of our country, is in the best interest of our society. So that is what we talk about here. Patriarchy and feminism, this is a spelling mistake here. Patriarchy and feminism have come to be perceived as opposites in our society. Patriarchy not only keeps women behind but also puts added pressure on men as the sole breadwinners of the family and restricts their ways of expression. So feminist movements are about equality, and the more equality we have inside and outside our homes, the better our lives will be for every individual. So hence women empowerment is an urgent requirement to establish an equitable society and a progressive world order. You can also talk about what the government or what the society can do as a whole. This is a general statement here in the conclusion. You can add your own conclusion or what you think that should be done or is the way forward for India as a society, for Indian society as a whole. So this was about the answer for today. These questions are very simple to address because you know, society questions or parts addressing like questions addressing vulnerable sections of population, these are the problems we face in our everyday lives, or we see our friends facing, or somewhere in our lives, even the house help in our homes, or you know, the basic daily wage laborer that we see working around us, that we've seen in all our lives somebody facing such problems. So these are very relatable. Use your own ideas, try to write in your own mother tongue the answer for the question first, then try to translate it in English if you're appearing for an exam in English, and try to build this muscle memory, try to build this muscle of being able to express yourself fluently in English and putting all what you have observed in your life and giving solutions to it as if you are a bureaucrat already sitting on the chair and making changes for the society. So I always say that ethics is an open ground for you. Just use whatever knowledge you have of life when it comes to ethics answers. And the second part is society, because we live in a very diverse society, we live in a very tight-knit social system in India. So society answers should never go wrong, such questions should never go wrong. Whatever you write is valid, is correct, it's just about how you present your answer and how creative you can be while addressing these questions. So make sure that you send your answers to us in the next 24 hours. Also, you can download the PPT, the PDF for this presentation from the link in the description below. The entire compilation of Seize the Mains Season 1, all questions and answers is available. You can download it from the link in the description and keep it safe for quicker revision. We'll come up with another compilation at the end of season 2 also, so either you can download that directly. And stay tuned, keep working hard. It's that time of the year when it is a make or break situation for aspiring civil servants. So have faith in yourself and keep sharing your answers.